interdisciplinary approach to the investigation, discovery, delivery, and diffusion of knowledge to cope with the intertextuality of the phenomena being observed and analyzed. Everybody in this room is texture, contradictory. Give you a solution and each of you will hit back with 5 problems. In everyday living, mutual respect and a commitment to the idea of the rights of one entailing the rights of all will have to be taken on board in the normal way of going about one's business from day to day. In dealing with the wider social environment, whether local or global, one must be prepared to code switch at a moment's notice so as to be able to deal with the different modes of relating that confront one within a matter of minutes, if not seconds. Our ordinary people understand this. Just deal with them. They know exactly what you're up to, particularly if you're educated. How can a child relate to the multiple images that will assault his consciousness on the television screen if he or she is to make sense of what he or she is viewing and of the world? Racism, religious bigotry, xenophobia, apocalyptic rationalism parading as science, neoliberal bottom-line economics, which serves to marginalize the very people who are the true producers of wealth. The commitment to a culture of violent conflict rather than of peaceful engagement. All these obscenities continue to afflict humankind and threaten to thwart all attempts to span differences, real or imagined. It was such danger signals which had UNESCO to set up a World Commission on Culture and Development towards the end of the last century. By moving culture to center stage in the development process, UNESCO genuinely felt that it could help in finding one of the exceptional solutions needed at this time, to the world's exceptional problems. For the world as we indeed know it, all the relationships we took as given are undergoing profound rethinking and reconstruction. Imagination, innovation, vision, and creativity are required. And these are required more among people like ourselves precisely because we are developing and small than even elsewhere. The Caribbean, I think, to a large measure, has understood this for a good part of its history, whatever may be the views to the contrary. Issues of pluralism, empowerment, media influence, gender rights, youth, cultural heritage, the environment, education, and research are all addressed in terms of cultural diversity and the creative management of such diversity. The aim of a new international cultural order is here implied. An order predicated on cultural diversity and the creative response to the challenge of difference as demanded by a 21st century world. The Americas, of which the Caribbean is a part, can lay claim to a grasp of this on the basis of historical experience and existential reality. We also need to address the question of multiculturalism at the core of the discourse on the contentious issue of perception of civil society tenanted by persons from different cultures, whether as a result of ancient migration as in the Americas, or the more recent movements of peoples, as St. Maarten has been experienced, and indeed Western Europe has been experienced, and the multiracial communities of Southeast Asia and Africa. We are all in this thing together. Multiculturalism as a policy option in countries like Canada and the United States is losing or virtually lost ground. Nation building as an antidote to the poison of ethnic exclusivity within discrete geographical boundaries does not in practice always serve as an effective cure for the poison. The English, for example, do tend to see themselves as different from all other Brits in the United Kingdom, but such nationalist fervor cannot escape the realistic desire of a United Kingdom, comprising different cultural elements which contribute seminally to the cultural richness of those verdant isles, no more than states' rights or indefensible claims to racial purity have been able to definitively describe the USA either to itself or to the wider world. We know that that is not true. I would hazard the guess that there are more brown people in the United States now than white. This is clearly not a Caribbean or St. Martin option. In fact, a core value is to resist all temptations to be homogeneously, ethnically exclusive and promote cultural diversity with full acknowledgement of the African presence in the shaping of the ethos. Then there is a matter of culture and education. Culture, in its broader sense, undergirds the educational system, but as expression of creative intellect and creative imagination, it needs greater focused attention in educational development throughout the Caribbean, where it has, in the past, informed the process of preparation for its people, not only to make a living, but how to live. Conscious relating to another set of findings in the UNESCO report is here recommended. For learning to live together, learning to be, learning to know, and creative artistic activity is a valid route to cognition. And learning throughout life are all highly dependent on a cultural sense, making the arts a vital variable in the education equation. Such, Mr. Commissioner, I watch your schools, and the entire, right up to university, the arts should be included. Such is the challenge for cultural diversity throughout the world. And the Americas, including the Caribbean, have been responsive to the challenge, even if selective. Just as a constitution establishes or designates organs of governance, so must a cultural policy do in identifying and designating appropriate institutions or institutional frameworks for the implementation of such policy. I would advise, knowing the character of a culturally diverse organism, that such cultural institutions should act as enablers and not as arbitrary authoritarian agents of cultural administration. Our people have had 400 years apprenticeship in sabotage. And if you force us to do anything, we are going to sabotage. For one, all politicians know this. For one thing, this would result in a rapid